Hi there, from Los Angeles, California. In case you have better things to do than watch this video, let me cut to the chase. LA kind of sucks. Now, that's not much of a secret. Many people hate this city, but many people also love it. So I figured I should go see for myself. I arrived in the city center one morning from Long Beach on the metro. Contrary to popular belief, this city does in fact have a public transit system. It's just that, well, if you have the money to spare, it's best to avoid it. It's not very extensive, and while I never felt too unsafe, I definitely would not want to be on it after dark. Rent a car if you can. I headed to Hollywood Boulevard as my first stop, to see the stars. And at this point I'm sure every local Angelino would groan that of course I hate the city since I chose to go to the stereotypical tourist area. But the Walk of Fame is one of the things the city is known for. Imagine not going to see the Eiffel Tower in Paris, or not drinking beer in Munich in October. My impressions of Hollywood Boulevard, it's exactly what you'd expect if you're expecting sort of kitsch, tourist trap, lots of souvenir stores that all sell the exact same souvenirs. Yeah, I guess I didn't expect it to be as grim as it actually turned out to be. Well, it's keeping in line with the rest of LA. One cool thing about LA is that it is one of the thrift capitals of the world, or so they say. There are plenty of second-hand shops around, so when I stumbled upon Iguana, one of the most famous thrift stores in Hollywood, I thought it would make a nice break from the thousands of curio shops in the street. I was, however, mistaken. Iguana Vintage is one of the most well-known second-hand clothing stores in Hollywood, according to, well, basically everyone and every place that I looked up in order to research my trip. Hollywood and LA more broadly, they say, is essentially the vintage capital of America. It's very expensive. It's far too expensive by my standards. I can get cheaper vintage clothing back home. I think maybe it's because it's on Hollywood Boulevard they push up their prices because gullible tourists. I'm at the Chinese Theatre, one of Hollywood's primary landmarks. Lots of people, lots of traffic, lots of motorbikes. It is a theatre done up in a stereotypical Chinese pagoda style. Right next door, which I'll be looking at next, is the Dolby Theatre, where the Oscars get filmed every year. I don't know how much time I have left to do all the things I wanted to do today, because I got wrangled by some Scientologists into doing basically a personality test that revealed how miserable I am and how only Scientology can save me. So I ran out of there very quickly. Gave them a fake name. Bye, Scientologists. I'm going to enjoy the kitschness and grossness of Hollywood while I can. Thanks for nothing. It would have been pretty cool to get to watch a movie in the iconic theatre, or do a tour at least. It would make a nice escape from the crowds, but honestly, everything worth doing in the city costs money and my budget was very tight. So with the remaining daylight I had, I made my way to the Griffith Observatory for a little hike. The views from the observatory are wonderful, and would be a perfect place to fly the drone if it wasn't basically the only place in LA with strict rules against it. Many people go there to get a view of the famous Hollywood sign, but are disappointed to see how small and far away it is. You can go on a nice long hike to get much closer to the sign, but I didn't have time for that because of those Scientologists. Nevertheless, my short walk on the mountain trail was definitely a welcome escape from the chaos down on Hollywood Boulevard. As the sun sets over LA each night, Griffith Observatory also offers the perfect view of the glittering city lights. Again, it's a bit crowded, like any famous site in LA, but from that viewing platform, I did almost forget how much I hated my day in Los Angeles. Okay, that's not fair. A few days later I was back in the city centre and there were a few standouts that are worth mentioning. For one, In-N-Out Burger with their animal-style fries was nice enough. It is just a fast food chain at the end of the day, but for anyone visiting California, it's kind of a must. Also, I took the bus to Museum Row. Getting off one stop early when two locals started threatening to shoot each other, mind you, but it was a lot of fun. At Museum Row, you will find the Peterson Automotive Museum, home to many famous Hollywood cars, as well as the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. This is where the famous Instagram streetlights can be found, though during the day they aren't much to behold. I'm a huge nerd when it comes to history, fossils, dinosaurs and all that, so of course I had to stop at the La Brea tar pits. It was the first Tuesday of the month, so the museum was sadly closed, but the publicly accessible exterior seems like a nice place for a picnic. You can watch the natural tar ooze out of the ground, and even play with it, while real-life paleontologists do their work nearby. And yes, I know La Brea already means the tar, so me and every other gringa calling it the La Brea tar pits probably sound very silly, referring to the tar pits, but what can you do? I also went to the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures. It was way too expensive, $25, but it brought Hollywood magic to life much more effectively than the kitsch and grimy city streets. At the museum, you really get to walk through the history of filmmaking, from the earliest days of the Oscar Awards to the modern era. So yeah, maybe LA isn't all that bad, at least if you have money to spend. And there are many great things that I didn't get a chance to see or do, like visiting the Santa Monica Pier, getting up close to the Hollywood sign, or exploring some of the many quirky museums and stores that I had on my bucket list. But if I'm being honest, unless I'm literally nominated for an Oscar, I don't see myself going back anytime soon.